Okay.
I put it.
We'll bring it
No, I
back.
know. I'm just making sure.
The world where the money at, right there. Pepper with tax
For the
For the money.
For the money. Okay, what is Deduction Daddy? Is that what we're calling ourselves nowadays?
That's what I'm calling myself today.
Today,
With
you're
my theme song.
okay.
Deduction Daddy.
Yeah. So Deduction Daddy, I'm here to interview you. We've been friends forever, but I know you as David Powell. I don't know you as Deduction Daddy.
No problem. Let's do it.
So let's
get to
find
know each
out. Okay. So what inspired you to start your business and how did you turn that idea into reality?
other. Oh, good question. So, how did I decide to start my business? Grew up in a real estate and a accounting household. My mom was an accountant. My dad was a real estate broker. Had my license for 22 years in real estate. When my father got a little sick and was the time to close the business, I was like very young and egotistical. I was like 22, 23.
I feel like I remember that.
It was like 2007.
Just kidding.
My dad got sick, hurt his back, and it was like, yo, you got to go get your broker's license or go work for somebody else. And I didn't do it. I went off and did a bunch of entrepreneurial stuff and did some advertising, marketing, media. Always kind of stayed around like the houses where I was selling like mini blinds and covers, solar. Didn't matter what it was. Like I always did something. Anyway, about 10 years ago, I had a friend who was a manager for like a bunch of Liberty Taxes at the time. And they had gotten closed up. He was working out of his house. He had like a couple hundred people he was seeing doing taxes for out of his house. And I was like, yo, either you look like a drug dealer and you're bombing the neighborhood, or like you should really make this into a business. I know how to do business. Let's partner up and do this. So we opened up the tax shack. We were in San Fernando. We did it for like 10 years. It was great. At a certain point in time, we decided to grow and expand. And, we moved up in Encino in Las Vegas, and now we're continuing to grow. But it all stemmed from pretty much where I grew up, where my family was, like what I learned. I never really strived away from what I was already embedded in me from birth.
So, I mean, I know you've always liked money.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. It all makes sense now. So can you share a specific strategy that significantly boosts your revenue and customer base? So like, what have you done for that?
That's a good one. So for me, I created a niche for myself very early on. I realized that from the combination of where I was when I was young, by learning to read and write on loan documents, and when I got in trouble having to post checks and do bookkeeping, that I was like literally the bank's worst enemy. I could kind of get anyone a loan because I kind of knew how the formulas work because I understood it. I saw it. I learned the tax code very young. I understood it. I learned how to write and ask all the right questions of a client, to pull the right information out of them, to be able to help them guide me to paint the picture as an artist to correctly portray their tax return to the IRS, the bank, and everything else. So my gift, my niche, my thing that really worked out was helping self-employed borrowers spend their first dollar that they saved one time in the right place to pay the admission ticket to get their taxes done and have enough money to get a house.
Okay, so would you say instead of being like a tax guy, you're more like an artist?
You
paint the picture of.
I like to actually use the analogy of a chef.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chef.
Anyone can cook a steak. You can get a steak at Denny's. You can get a steak at Morton's. You can get a steak at Lago. You can get a steak at, Outback Steakhouse, and you get what you pay for.
That's true.
You literally get what you pay for. All these places have different price points. They're all serving you a steak.
There you go. So you're more like a chef.
Don't go to Tony
So
Roma's.
what are you like? Are you like Outback Steakhouse? Or are you like...
No, I'm definitely like the Mortons, the Flemings, the Lago.
Okay, like Fleming.
Michael Mina.
Okay, just double checking. I mean, you said you're a chef. I want to see what kind of chef.
I'm like the Salt Bay of taxes.
There you go. I love it. So what's one thing you wish you'd known about running a business when you first started?
I think that running a business has a viewpoint of a startup when you're a solopreneur and only having to worry about yourself is kind of simplified and easy because you're only worrying about your bills. I think the biggest or hardest transitional point of when I had to learn this was realizing that hey, I have to cover payroll for my employees who have families for the next 3 months, and I need to get through November and December and January at the dark time. And if I don't have that savings and bank account, how is this person going to have a Christmas? How are they going to pay their rent? How do I keep their life happy because they keep my life happy? I think that was the biggest aha and learning moment of curve of when I grew my business and actually got employees. I was like, yo, this is fun and exciting, but it's scary as shit.
Yeah. Did you lose some sleep over worrying a little bit about payroll and things like that?
No, I probably paid some interest trying to borrow money at some point. But
There might have been some.
I made sure that nobody knew about it.
Yeah, look, you do what you can do. If you have to borrow from, borrow from Paul to pay, no, borrow
Peter
from...
to pay Paul.
Thank you. I knew there was a Paul and a Peter. I didn't know who had the money, but we worked it out. Okay. So
And I think payroll's a crazy conversation because it's a big point of a factor of an expensive businesses that does not get talked about enough.
For sure.
So anyway, that was
I mean, yeah, because if you think about payroll, like, Mike so nicely said, is like you have to pay attention to the cash. You have to follow the money. You can't just assume, hey, I can make payroll this month, means I'm going to make payroll next month. So that's really important. So what are the smartest tax strategies as someone who really has never done her own taxes ever? I used to go to H&R Block back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone has a story about that.
No, you know what? I honestly, I'm not trying to say they were amazing because they probably honestly were horrible, but I didn't know any better.
Well, there's nothing wrong with going to H&R Block. Let me tell you why. So this is not a put down against anyone who works at a H&R Block, a Liberty Tax, a Jackson Hewitt, a tax, anyone that works for John Hewitt, because I know the man himself. I've actually met him, shook his hand. The guy who started all three of them, and the fourth one is a tax, his new one. But the thing is they're just doing data entry. They're just a historian. And when you're just a historian and you're doing data entry, you can only do so much. There's no tax planning and proactivity they can do for the following year. They might be able to tell you to put some money into a retirement account, like a traditional offset your tax. That's about the extent of what they can do for you at that point in time. It's all whatever you did to yourself.
Yeah, no.
So when you're just doing data entry, you're just...
all I know about taxes, let's be 100% honest, is I can't deduct all the things I want to deduct.
No. Actually, my worst H&R Block story I ever heard from a client was they went to an H&R Block in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is a no state tax state, so they only have to do a federal return, just like here in Nevada. Lady's married, shows up with her husband's, Air Force paperwork because he's in the Army, in the military, and goes, I'm here to do our taxes. And they go, no problem, we'll give you a military discount. And it's like, $50 off, but the tax return was like $500, and there was like one W-2 for them. Way overcharged them to begin with to get the job done for what they were doing, and it's like, come on, forget military, hook them up,
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why they didn't go on base. That's on them, but.
Well, you want to know something super crazy is my mom still does her own taxes.
Oh, I'm sure. All those
She,
properties?
the worst part is I'll ask her, she goes into a cave for 3 months to do taxes. I don't talk to her. I don't see her. She goes, I'm doing taxes. I don't know why it takes 3 months. It just does. She literally calls the IRS, calls them on the phone, asks for the paperwork. They mail it to her.
Hard.
I no joke, every year for the last freaking 50 years.
They won't do that much more.
So I think that, I don't know if this year they
They're going all
would,
digital.
or they made her print it out, but she literally gets the book and she sits down with her little calculator that has the roll in it, and she was like,
Her little adding machine.
her little adding hours. It's crazy. I don't know. She's crazy. Okay, so what's the smartest tax strategy you've implemented for your business? And how did it affect your bottom line?
Oh, for my business?
Yeah.
Or for a client?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can legally say what you do
So
for your business.
for my business, I do a lot. I kind of stay very traditional because I want to make sure that I'm doing everything correctly, and I know that I'm going to get scrutinized as an accountant. I really don't do too much crazy stuff. I have a SEP IRA. I do payroll. I do accelerated depreciation, Section 179 on items. Some of the basic concepts that you hear people talk about on social media. Some of the fun stuff that I do for myself and for others is use things like the Augusta rule, accountability plans, using family members for board of directors. There's all sorts of different strategies that you can do to reduce taxes, but without having a personal tax plan built for their tax strategy and what they need, you could be doing something that's unnecessary.
I mean, you named probably 7 things. I have no idea what you're talking about. The Augusta, that sounds like if you can hit a hole in one.
It's actually made after the golf course.
No, because that's all I was
Yeah.
thinking. I was like,
So
if
the
you're a really
so-
good golfer, you
so
can deduct your clubs.
So the Augusta rule is actually based around the Masters.
Okay.
Okay, and so there's a rule written in tax law because, everyone wants to go to the Masters and see what's going on out there. It's like the party to get the green jacket, So what happens is that if you rent your house for 14 days or less to yourself for a business, and then some tax code, it's free. So
Okay.
you can hide a bunch of money. So when you go to the Masters and you pay, $5,000 a night for 14 days, and all of a sudden these guys are making, $50,000, $60,000. It's all free money.
Okay. I need to buy a house in Augusta. Got it.
Augusta rule.
There you go. You learn something new every day. How do you balance reinvesting profits into your business versus managing tax obligations?
You know what? It's kind of simple. For me, as a tax pro, we just set ourselves up with doing some estimated tax payments and making sure that we can get everything set up, making sure the payroll's paid on time, and the 940, 941s are done. So those are paid quarterly. And once we do the estimated payments for federal and state, we probably get the hugest refund that you could potentially get at the end of the year, but we have to be current going through so we avoid everything to be safe.
There you go. That sounds good. Sounds on the up and up to me. What's a common tax mistake that you see business owners make, and how can they avoid it?
Great question. My thing that I bang my head against the wall and hate is when a business owner goes to their bookkeeper and says, "Hey, categorize all this stuff, and this is how it's supposed to look," and they bring it to me and they want to write off their rent in their apartment for the last 12 months. And you don't get to write off your rent in your apartment for the last 12 months. You get a small home office deduction when you're.
I was living there. I have to sleep in order to work.
Oh.
My bed is in my house.
The other one is when, like, you get a wage earner who goes, "Can I write my car off because they send me to drive everywhere?" And it's like, no, you got a W-2. Talk to your employer about that.
I mean,
So there's all sorts of like unique rules, but like that's the one that I bang my head against the wall all the time, which is like the bad books because of bad advice, because they think they're supposed to get a credit for something that does not count.
So you're saying I cannot deduct all of my house payments.
House payments are not the same. House payments you get on your
so
Schedule
rent
A. House payments you get on your Schedule A, you'll get the mortgage interest and the property tax. Like when
Okay.
someone comes in and goes, "I rent an apartment," or "I rent this house and I want to write off all my rent."
Yeah.
That is not a good thing, especially, and then after they convert to an S corp or a corporate or an LLC, it's even worse because now you're supposed to rent an actual office.
Yeah.
Like the rent is not a calculated deduction. It's an actual expense. The rent line says rent. There's no automatic calculation for space of your home. You have to pay rent somewhere. So operate your business like a real business and you might actually get the deduction.
So I'm playing devil's advocate. So let's say I sell pictures of my feet and I take pictures of my feet throughout my house in different places and I pay rent. Can I deduct my rent? Because then it's like I'm doing a photo shoot.
I'll give you a different version of the question. Are you ready?
Okay.
So meals and entertainment is a great area that everyone always wants to talk about writing everything off.
Yeah.
Great point, right? So when a person's a realtor, you will potentially maximize your deductions when it comes to, the closing gift meal that you bring your client to, or maybe the coffees that you have with them, or the meal you have along the way during the escrow process. Maybe you take your celebration team of your escrow and your TC out and do something like that too. Great. You don't go and get every prospect meal that you take to go and do something to go right off. You can't go and get every single coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take that idea and make you a food Instagrammer. Okay.
Okay.
So all of a sudden now you're
Influencer.
you're an influencer. So now you're a food influencer. You're going to go and you're going to get all your plates of food from all the different places. I actually did a Instagram about this.
They do.
Yeah, so let's say you go and get, now the only way that you can make money as an influencer from YouTube and get your views is by having this meal and giving your presentation of the meal. You'll have like the guy who does like the local eats, like local Las Vegas eats, local Los Angeles, whatever. All those guys with all those meals in front of them, 100% deductible because it's a cost of their business. They couldn't have made the video. They couldn't have done any work without that plate in front of them. So for that, all their meals are 100% deductible when they use them for the video purposes.
So if I did sell pictures of my feet and I got pedicures,
The pedicures would.
pedicures would be deductible. There you go.
If your food had jelly on it. If your feet had jelly.
Then put my foot in my food. I think that's the thing. I don't know, but I do have Googles. What was the biggest struggle or failure you faced in your business, and how did you overcome it? Was it getting audited?
No, I usually
my biggest nightmare.
I usually clean up audits for other people that come to me to get them cleaned up. I think my biggest struggle or failure, diversion from my plan early on.
Okay.
So when I opened my business with my partner at the beginning, the idea was like, hey, let's go open 10 of these, let's build this brand and let's like open it up. And like, we kind of got stuck because of COVID and circumstances, and like the flame kind of died out at that one location. So I think that following through with my vision faster would be something that I would consider a failure, because watching how the expansion that I've created now is blowing up and having everything going on, it's like, dude, I really should have been sooner. So that's okay. Never too late.
It's never too late.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a failure. I would say that would be my struggle was, having, I think that businesses should be in odd numbers. I think that partnerships don't work. I think that, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, you'll always get a decision made. I think 2, 4, and 6, and 8 aren't going to work.
Interesting. Because I've heard them in my 42 years of knowledge, and I've never heard anybody say, make sure you do odd numbers.
Yeah, that's my thing.
So one person can always be the
because if
decision maker.
every decision is a 50-50, you're never going to have progress.
True.
Everything's going to get stuck at a stalemate.
That makes sense. Now I know. How do you manage stress or uncertainty when financial or tax pressures arise. Is tax season stressful for you?
Yeah, tax season is stressful for me. I go to a lot of hockey games. I get my little like 3 hour break from the world, like
That's it?
like my mini vacations during tax season, because hockey and tax season overlap. So it's like October to April. Tax season is like, the first quarter, so it's January through April. So like, those evenings when I get to go with my, my family and friends for those couple hours are like total breaks, because the phone really can't ring inside. You're really loud. Like that is like the break from the reality for me. I do 2 vacations a year pretty much, where like at the end of each like major deadline, I'll go and do something. So I've been doing a lot of cruising and traveling. So that's been my way of managing the stress.
That's good. That's so important.
The gym in the morning.
Yeah.
Hitting the treadmill.
Yeah.
Sauna, but like the travel and the other stuff is fun.
Yeah. Getting some margaritas in you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, let's be honest. You gotta let loose every once in a while. You gotta turn the phone off. It's very important. Was there a moment when you almost gave up? What kept you going?
Was there a moment when I almost gave up? I think there was a moment of stagnant or stillness. I don't think there's ever been a moment of almost giving up. Pretty much been 100% committed. The greatest thing that I have is I don't feel like I'm working.
Perfect.
So like for me, I enjoy what I do. I get to help people. I get to explain to people. I was just saying to someone earlier today, like, hey, guess what? If you don't like doing your homework, I do it for you. That's what we do. We do bookkeeping, payroll, taxes. Probably I feel like there's 2 types of people in the world. There's either the ones that had people that they paid to do their homework when they were in high school, or there are people that paid them to do the homework.
Yeah.
And so if you paid somebody, you probably need to continue to do that in your life. They just don't realize that they want to do that. So they go, I'm going to do the books and I'm doing this myself. And then they clusterfuck the whole thing. And then they pay like triple the money because they could have just had to write the first time. But they had like this value scare where they're like, you cost too much. So then they like end up paying more in the end because they don't realize the value in the beginning. It's their lesson to learn. But I feel like that part of the explanation is really like the one thing I would have taught somebody.
Well, and I will say, we've been friends since junior high. David was always an A student. I was not. And I never paid him to do my homework because I'm cheap. So I just didn't do my homework. But, it's interesting because I do, it's weird how people don't ever really change in a way, right? Like you've always been a studious person, right? So you like to study, you're always in a numbers guy, you've always enjoyed that. And behold, I don't do my own taxes and you do taxes.
Yep.
So it was written in the stars for you, I guess. So let me think. So were there any mistakes that you kind of made early on? I mean, you kind of already touched maybe a little bit on it with your partner and kind of not moving the way you wanted to through that.
Oh, I can give you a good one.
Yeah.
So I think undervaluing yourself is a huge mistake that got happened early, because I pigeonholed myself into a ton of clients that are like, oh, is it the same cost as last year? Like I hear that question every year, and every year when I go, no, it's going to be a little bit more, they cry. And I'm like, but wait a second, like the new guy who just came in is literally paying 30% more than what you're paying me.
Yeah. It's called inflation.
Like,
sorry.
My dad always said there's like this 80-20 rule. So like, hey, you should always maintain 80% of your business, be willing to lose 20% and just get, 20% new business from your referrals. And so as long as I can keep that 80-20, I'll probably be okay. But I feel like the pigeonholed from the early clients that are still paying me like a very low rate, that's probably the biggest mistake I ever made, was undervaluing myself.
And your time, because I mean, the reality is, look, it's not like the people that aren't paying you much money are going to take any less time, right?
No, it's 100% the same time or more.
Yeah.
In fact, the clients who have the lower bills tend to take the more time because they want to ask all the questions and take up all your time. The clients with the big bills pay the check and love you and trust you and just tell me how much, and they keep working and making more money.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that works, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's time value of money, right? Like you realize like Mike is, obviously is the spreadsheet master. My husband has the most ridiculous spreadsheets on everything and literally keeps a spreadsheet on everything. And he'll send his spreadsheet to the accountant and everything's there. So literally it's like plug and play. But if the accountant has to ask a question, Mike's like, no, you haven't. Like, don't call me. You have the information. Look at what I sent you, right? Because time is money. And so honestly, probably your higher end clients are a little easier because they're just like.
Yeah, they're a lot more organized and ready for it.
Yeah, just you do it. Do what you need to do and then tell me how much money I owe or tell me how much money the government's giving me back.
Right.
Which never happens, but maybe one day. Okay. So how do you stay motivated with dealing with the complexities of your tax business, business regulations constantly changing. We know that we have a new president this year and things are changing, right? Like they do with every new president. New laws.
The last big change actually came in when he was the president, and it was called the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. That was brought in 2017. This year, he has a new one called the Bigger, Better Bill.
I've heard of it.
Pretty much going to go back to everything that was going on in 2017. He's
okay, so you don't have to learn anything new?
He's trying to clean up. No, it's actually a lot of learning. It's one of the biggest tax changes in the last 40 years.
Oh, okay.
So when we actually get it all decided, it'll probably, knowing the government, be like November or December, just in time for me to read like 8,000 pages before January.
But good thing you like reading.
Yes,
I already said that.
Exactly. So that'll be the fun one. But, we go to a conference or two every year. There's a continuing education 20 hours that we need to maintain for our professional licensing. So there's a lot of upkeep to be able to stay as a professional in this industry. So, with my real estate license, I only have to get my continuing education every 4 years, and my ethics.
Really? It's 2 years for me.
It's every 4 years, and then it's a little bit of ethics every time. So
yeah,
it's like way easy versus this, which is like every year, 20 hours. You got to be in. You got to do something. So for years, I did it like as a take-home test. I would just do it on my own. Now I'm taking my team. We're becoming more empowered. We're going to some conventions. So it's a lot more fulfilling when you go and get educated from somebody in person who's like tax attorney, a CPA, an enrolled agent, IRS commissioner, the head of the drink software that people use. Like there's a lot of rubbing of elbows that happen at the events. So that's pretty inspiring and fun.
I should go to that so I can sell some houses to some people. So I just kind of want to finish it up with, if you could go back, right? Like if you had a time machine, what advice would you give your younger self?
What advice would I give my younger self? I would have actually bought a house in 2008 when Obama was giving out some money. I would have started my practice earlier and expanded it earlier and stretched my rubber band a little bit more in myself to be prepared for this. I would have probably ad spend on some, Instagram. Like, I feel like I was a little resistant to the internet stuff. I think now I look at it more like it's paying for, in the beginning of time, I always said I want to pay for a billboard ad. Like have an arrow pointing to my business office, like my brick and mortar store.
Yeah.
Like that was like I want to be the guy on the billboard. Come here for your taxes.
Do it.
And now I'm like, you know what? That's kind of like way expensive for nothing.
It's just like, I'm not doing it.
No, but I could spend a bunch of money on the internet and show everyone in the
Absolutely.
US. So there's some ad spend that I probably would have done sooner in Google keywords and that type of stuff and not been so frugal in that area of expansion. But I think that I'm pretty hip with the times and I'm trying to get hippers. Getting some AI technology, starting to do some of that stuff now. And we have a podcast I might be trying to do. So
Yeah, and you had a song made.
I did have a song made.
Because why not? Well, people don't know that he actually tried to be a rapper in back in the day. No, I'm kidding. Were you?
No. I did some music
joking.
videos back in the day, and I had some friends that were influential in the Bay Area music, hyphy music. So
Did you have a rapper name?
No, they called me Dime Piece Dave.
What's the difference between a rapper name and a moniker?
Well, I wasn't a rapper.
Oh, but you had a
Now they
cool
call
name.
me the Deduction Daddy.
Yeah, but I was gonna say now you finally got a good one.
Yeah.
The Deduction Daddy. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the Deduction Daddy. The Deduction Daddy, is he like this cool chain, but I also know how to add and subtract?
I think the idea is it's more like I made him up and I took him to a tax conference and I gave him a bunch of tax pros because I felt like for me, I went on vacation and I wore my hat that said Tax Shack that I had made for my company name. And I wore it for a week and I was in New Orleans and I was on this cruise and I was in Belize and I was in Honduras. And guess what? For a week straight, no one knew what a fucking tax shack was. So instead of coming from an ego point of view, why am I going to want my business name on the front? I put my business name on the back of my hat.
Okay.
So it's still there. So
Yeah.
I have it. But I think that this is, a little bit more conversational. So I made ones that said Money Mommy and Deduction Daddy.
Okay, but what if I want to be Deduction Daddy?
You can. I got some hats.
I don't have to be a money mommy.
No, you can't. You can
I do want to be. I don't want to be like a money mommy. Like I'm like spending money. I want deductions.
Yeah, no, it's definitely I have.
I want money coming to me.
So it's funny because the whole thing came out at the pool. I was at a pool party at the convention. Met some people that kept asking me are you an influencer? Do you sell these hats? What's going on? So I ended up connecting with a couple of really good tax pros that have some really good followings that are really excited about the gear. Gave it all out. So now it's kind of flowing where everyone's tagging it and having fun. And I think it is going to be something that catches on in the community and make it a little bit more for the tax world because I think that everyone sees an accountant or a CPA in a suit and tie and behind a desk and guarded. They're the equivalent of being the judge behind the desk.
Yeah.
And this should be dude, we're here on your side. We should be all having fun together. It's not about it's not about trying to hide from us. Like, we're here to help you throughout the year. Call your accountant, have a conversation. Call the deduction daddy. Let me tell you how to fix it.
Okay. How do people get a hold of the deduction daddy?
So it's a great, easy way to get a hold of me. We have the easiest phone number in the world.
Okay. Let's see.
A1.
Uh-huh.
Think about this. We do taxes every day.
Okay.
818-365-40s.
Okay.
That's the phone number. 818-365-1040. It's my office cell phone office number. You can email me, taxes@mytaxshack.com. We have a Instagram, we have a TikTok, and we have a X, formerly known as Twitter. All the handles are @TaxShack.
Okay, at Tax Shack.
And,
Love it. Okay, well, if you need some deductions or some money, because it goes both ways, get a hold of him and he'll do the math for you. He'll do the homework for you. And that's all I've really ever needed in life is my homework done for me. Awesome. Okay,
Thank you, Tiffany.
absolutely.
It's been great.
Thank you. It's been fun.